All right, here we go. The Hoksey boys are back in the house. Nicolas Lirio Kent Boucher, a.k.a. Sig Boucher. And that means we have some deep, meaningful topics to discuss. It might get heated in here. It might get controversial. It might get sentimental.
That's right.
We don't know. But what we do know is that we all care deeply about our landscape, wild places, and each other. So this conversation certainly will come from the heart, and it just might leave you with some food for thought that you can chew on about this wild life. And as always, our episodes are supported by our sponsors, Onyx Hunt, Waltons, the Minnesota Horse and Hunt Club, HuntFishSD.com, Rufflin Kennels, Black Gold Dog Food, and by Game Virtual Shooting Simulators. All right, welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Frank. Big Al is our producer, hiding behind the camera.
I don't like people that have to see me.
He turns the camera on us, but then he hides behind it. He
I'm
could
a magical voice from the background that people don't see.
There's several cameras here. We could easily turn one of them around.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't want to get too famous.
Yeah, because at Pheasant Fest, somebody came up and they said, "Big Al, I thought you would be bigger."
Yeah.
But that's like when you got a big guy and you call him tiny.
Well, he said he's been going to the gym. Now we know why.
He has been pumping iron.
He gave him a little
gave me a hard
thing,
time. Yeah.
He comes in here hot every morning and just all worked up, and he wants to tell me every weight he lifted, and how early he got up.
I tell him the pounds. Sometimes I even go. I forgot the word. I'm American.
Rep.
I don't remember the metrics.
Oh, kilograms.
Kilograms. Sometimes I even tell them kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicolas Lirio Kent Boucher.
Hey, good to see you.
Thanks for having us. It was. I just want to say.
I'm doing this thing. I'm doing the silent thing that we just talked about. Okay, it almost worked. I was going to see who was going to start talking first because, so we had a DNR officer in the office with us.
This is a real hot tip.
A couple of minutes ago, he had to leave, but it was so good. We just had lunch together, the 5 of us, and he said, if you stop talking, people just can't help themselves. They had to start talking. He goes, I can't even tell you how many tickets I have written by shutting my mouth.
Yeah.
By people, they incriminate themselves if you let them talk.
Yeah.
I was about to incriminate Kent. That's what I was about to do.
Well, how many of those tickets are probably associated with substances used while in the field? And so
perhaps
and
too.
So judgment is probably a little bit inhibited.
That's part of it, but there's an intimidation there.
Yeah,
when an officer shows up, there's an intimidation that, is it possible that I'm doing something wrong?
Yeah.
Or if they are doing something wrong, the silence.
I feel like if he's looking at me quiet, I feel like I let him down. You know, that's what I feel like I would think. Like I feel like he's a disappointed dad, especially if the guy who's in here was looking at me like that. I'd be like, he's silent, just looking at me.
I think it's like when a cop passes you on the road and you're like, oh no, I hope he doesn't catch me going 2 miles an hour over the speed limit.
You always check your rear view.
Slam on the brakes.
Is he coming around?
Or like they have somebody else pulled over, so like they're obviously not going to pull up, just leave the person and come get you for doing 5 miles an hour over, but you're always like, oh God, I got to slow down. He might get me.
And you're like a model citizen. You turn your turn signal on at like a quarter mile away.
Like sometimes the cops are going faster over the speed limit, like faster than you are. But like you're like, if I just go as fast as them, it's gonna be wrong.
I know. Or if a cop is going exactly the speed limit, that's scary. That's a scary cop.
We're getting derailed again, guys.
Yes,
but. Think about this for a second. The last time you got pulled over or got a ticket, I want to know what it was for. I'm going to tell you my story real quick because I just relived it. Not like relived it, but we had the daddy-daughter dance last weekend in my hometown. So I took my 2 girls. I know, adorable. The year before, I took my daughters to the daddy-daughter dance, and I've done this now for however many years. I've been taking my daughters to my oldest went, I think she was like 4. And we were dancing and having a great time. And then I said, hey, you want to ditch this place and go get some ice cream during the middle of the dance? And she's like, yeah. So we went to a local ice cream shop, and now that's become our thing. we dance, and then they're like, hey, you want to ditch this place and go get some ice cream? Every time they know it's coming.
You're making me miss my daughters. Right?
Yeah, I know. So then last year we go to the coffee shop and we pull into this parking lot and we are cranking and singing all the way there after leaving the dance.
All right, you got to tell us what you were singing. One song.
Probably Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Yes, that's our go-to. And so the coffee shop or the ice cream shop was closed. This is Saturday night and they were closed. I said, all right, well, we'll go to, I think it was Dairy Queen or Culver's. And so I strapped at the time she was 3, into her car seat and my other daughter in the back seat. And I hop in, the music's cranking and I look and for the life of me, I didn't put my blinker on as I came out in town. No. And it wasn't a highway. It was just a side street in town. And I didn't strap my seatbelt on either because we were just going right down the road to the next ice cream shop. Whoop, whoop. Lights turn on. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And the officer walks up and he's like, you know where I pulled you over? And I said, I think I pulled out without putting a blinker on. He's like, you did not put a blinker on. I was like, oh my gosh. And he said, and you weren't wearing your seatbelt. And I'm like, oh my gosh. You are, I look at him like 100% right. You are absolutely right. He's like, what are you guys doing? I go, I had 2 cute little girls in their dress and I'm wearing a suit, and I'm like, just had the daddy-daughter dance. And
Travis is actually crying.
I'm like,
things got a little wild.
Honestly, we were just jamming out to music, having fun. And the girls were singing. I was singing. Yeah. And the ice cream shop is closed. We're going to the next one. He looks at me. He's like, you guys just take it easy tonight. Have fun with your girls. Because 2 girls that are just like frozen in the back seat, looking at it. I was like, I should appreciate that. I am very sorry. I appreciate that.
So now you double check every time you turn onto a side road?
No, I let it ride. I cranked the music and just let it ride.
You know what's funny? I think I know what ice cream shop you're talking about. And the last time I got pulled over was maybe a mile down the road from where you would have gotten pulled over.
They're hanging out there.
And it's the same guy.
You know that T in the road over there where the roundabout is now?
Yeah.
Like to go back to Watertown. And I rolled the stop sign a little bit. It had just snowed, so that was kind of my excuse. But there was no snow on the road. I rolled it a little bit, and we come back from Domino's, and all of a sudden I see the lights. I'm like, oh. He was like, he was hiding way down the road, and he pulls me over. He's like, so, I pulled you over. I'm like, yeah, sorry. My car, it doesn't do very good in the ice. It's a manual. It spins a lot. And it just snowed, so I didn't want to get stuck. And he's like, I didn't have my insurance on me either. I don't know why I didn't have it in the car. I think no, I didn't. And he didn't ever ask for my insurance, actually, ironically. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's okay. No ice on the road, by the way. It was completely dry. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get that. Just make sure not to do it again. You can have a good day. I was like,
crazy.
Didn't ask for my insurance and didn't care.
They're humans too.
Yeah, that's right.
You have any good stories last time you got pulled over?
Maybe you don't want to admit this. I have a theory for why I keep getting
Ken's
pulled
got.
over.
In fact,
is this a regular thing?
Yes. I'm getting profiled because I have an old truck.
What color is it?
I think it's not just the color.
But what color?
It's got a little bit of rust and it's a Honda Ridgeline. It's silver.
Well, it's silver? Because if you have red is the one that they see.
No,
I have a bright red car. So
they take one look at that thing and they're like, that dude is way too old to be driving. that guy needs to be off the road right away.
I think they think I'm like a meth head because it's a 20-year-old truck.
I picture Kent driving 17 miles below the speed limit. 17, like that's how
lead foot, brother.
He's deep in thought, thinking about these major.
That's why he's got the lead
life.
foot because he's thinking and not paying attention.
No, I could see him. Like my grandpa, he was under the speed limit on the way to the coffee shop. And that's
why
how
are you comparing me to your grandpa?
Because you think all these super deep philosophical
your generation. Actually,
he's got an old soul, doesn't he?
I do have an old
he
soul.
does. Yeah, that's true. Ken, after he started working at Hoksey, he had just transitioned from a job he couldn't stand to Hoksey Native Seeds, and he loved the job. He's like, I drive slower now. I used to be always anxious and like, I need to get to the next place I'm going. And he's like, I literally drive slower.
I think it's just our culture. We drive really fast right now. Everyone's in a rush. Everyone is mad at the person in front of them for messing up their plans. And it's just the pace.
When I'm coming up to a stoplight, if it hits red or yellow or whatever before I get there, and you feel that like, oh, I'm frustrated I didn't hit it, that is a sign for me to be like, I'm not okay. Something's actually wrong. I need to figure it out.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. So the Hoksey
I think
boys,
it's mostly just digestive health for me. That's the problem when he gets to a stoplight and he's frustrated. He's got to go.
Something's wrong. That's not where I was going.
Something deep inside is wrong. It's broken.
So the last time I felt that, it was a week ago tonight because I was speaking at a banquet.
Oh, no.
And the dinner had just concluded. I had dinner and I'm supposed to go up and speak, but I don't know exactly when I'm supposed to go. And I hear the rumbling in my stomach.
No.
My wife was there, and I'm like, honey, please pray for me right now because I don't know that something could happen when I go up on stage. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Add the anxiety of having to get up and speak in front of people.
A viral moment.
500 people in the building. I got to go stand up there and speak, and I might be running off the stage at any moment.
500 people heard me speak that night, and 6 million watched the video afterwards. Can I derail for just one incredible story? Is that okay? Yeah. So this guy, I knew him personally. I know him quite well. This really did happen.
It's not me.
It was not Kent. It was not Kent. It was not
whatever the story is. It wasn't me.
It was not anybody that's ever been on our podcast. He's an incredible guy, and he was a missionary in Thailand for a while. And what they would do is they would do like arts. They did plays, and they would invite people, and then they would just love on them. And he was in a play on basically the equivalent of a town square, but their culture is a little different. So he was in a play on a town square, and he was supposed to be Jesus in the Stations of the Cross. They're doing some worship songs, and then he's about to go up, and he all of a sudden, boom, it hits him. And he goes to the lady in charge. Dude, how long do we have before I got to go to the bathroom? Just hold on. And she's like, no, you're going up right now. You have to go up there. So he said it was the most miserable time of his life. He was like, I've literally never had more pain in my body than having to hold that in while trying to like act out this thing for 30 minutes. Well, this is only the precursor.
For 30 minutes?
This is only the precursor of the story, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as he's done, he jumps off that stage and he runs to.
I know where this is going.
Back bent, the most awkward run you've ever seen.
He's running around. He's trying to find. They have in Thailand in these like town squares. They had these at the time. They had these like outhouses basically, and it could fit one person. And he finally finds one, and he literally kicks the door. He like kicks the door in, pushes it in, turns around. He pulls up his robe. Right, he's wearing a robe because he's pretending to be Jesus. And he turns around and he poops all over the place, and just explodes this bathroom. And I'm sorry about your podcast, by the way.
This one's not monetized.
No.
Nick just cost you money.
We're not there yet. And he gets done, and he's so relieved, and he hears a little sound behind him.
No.
And he turns around, and there is a lady.
No.
Which is so horrible. But we need to remember that.
Wait a minute. How could he not know that? I mean, who stands there and doesn't he sit down?
No, not in these like old outhouses. You kind of like bend over the pot. But so
not like a biffy, like a little tiny space, like a 3x5 space.
No. They're bigger than that, and then they have like little stalls.
Okay,
that you like turn around and so the lady's like small. She's like a small Asian lady, and he's like a big white guy, right? And so you have to remember from this lady's point of view, what happened was Jesus came bursting into her stall and turned around and pooped all over the place.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
This guy who's a missionary is like, I never spoke to her again. I never went to look for her. I just said, I'm so sorry and left.
Oh my goodness.
As if that covers it. I'm so sorry.
Every hunter has a story probably that they could tell
guts in the woods
about where things went wrong. Mm-hmm. We could really derail this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right.
We'll leave it at that. Okay. So there are several antlers. If you're watching this video, I think we're talking about people that watch podcasts before. I don't know if Al's going to put that in or not. I don't trust him with anything anymore. I don't trust him with anything.
Oh, no, I won't put that in.
Sure. But if you're watching, you see there's a bunch of antlers here, right? There's some duck and goose bands that are hanging on the tines of these antlers, and they all have a story to tell. And I wasn't planning on talking about this, but when Kent, I know you love hunting for sheds.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just brought these ones in here. That's a monster set right there. And you're like, look at that. And then I said, let me show you this one. And then we looked at that monster behind you right there.
Some of the best mass I've ever seen.
That's crazy. It was heavier than it looked, and it looks heavy.
Yeah, grab that one.
Yeah, will you pick that up?
Pick that bad boy up. That thing is just unbelievable. And what I guess I think everything.
So this was you?
No, I didn't find that one. I think Aaron Ochtenberg found that. He tripped on it while filming a pheasant hunt.
Wow.
In, I want to say Kansas or Nebraska.
Yeah, that looks like a Kansas.
It might have been a quail hunt, might have been pheasant. Either way, he was filming and he tripped on one of the tines, and then he's like, holy crap. So he brought it back.
That's incredible.
But if you look behind us here, I mean, there's all kinds of different things. Like, why do we as hunters keep this stuff?
Well, when was this? Maybe a couple years ago, I think there was, Paleolithic man. They found like a cave where there's some
this
paintings.
Is why I love him, by the way.
I was just about to say, he's thinking
this is why you drive 17 miles an hour below the speed limit.
He sends me articles all the time, and I'm like, dude, that's like 20,000 words. I'm not going to read that thing.
Hey,
Sum it up for me.
Nothing wrong with being educated.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Al. Thank you.
Not that I am, but nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah, some of us just don't read about poop stories. I mean,
so paleo.
This was like in a cave where thousands of years ago, humans were maybe not necessarily living in there, but stashing things, a cache or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they found some like antlers and things that somebody had been stashing in there, and it was just the idea was, man, this has been going on a long time where. Stuff just catches our eye. There's got to be some kind of psychology behind antlers for why they catch our eye and we're so interested.
Something about it, yeah. So that one came from just south of the Canadian border. That set right there. This one right here, this deadhead. I tripped on this one in Lemon, South Dakota, which is right by the North Dakota border, and I didn't bring it home with me because I needed a tag to take that up because it's attached to the skull.
Yep.
And I didn't have that. So then the landowner is like, no, take it. And I go, I legally can't, and I'm not going to risk this. But about a week later, I got this in the mail in a big box, random box showed up, cardboard box, and I opened it, and here's this rack. Inside of it was a tag that he had.
Yep.
The DNR signed it, and he sent it as a gift.
That's cool.
That is a chucker feather and a chucker foot from Nevada.
That's awesome.
Ryan and Jace Newmarker. This is Nicholas. What kind of
is
antler
going
is that?
on here? It's the whatchamacallit game.
Cribbage.
Thank you.
That is a cribbage board made out of a caribou antler.
Caribou.
Wait, how come we've never played cribbage here?
You know how to play?
I know how to play cribbage.
Oh my gosh, quit the podcast right now. We got to play.
That could be a podcast.
That's a Minnesotan thing for sure.
What, cribbage?
That's a cabin. You're up at the cabin or up at the lake or something.
Yeah, and
like,
so
awesome.
we got snowed in Alaska Lodge probably 12, 13 years ago, and we played cribbage for 3 days while the storm.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't really leave. It was a 12 by 12 square, about an hour plane ride into the bush. And we played cribbage for days on a moose antler. And a couple months later, I get that in the mail from the guide up there.
I gotta say, Travis, you got an eye for like the little bit of extra pizzazz. These little iron cut nails here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a nice
I didn't do that,
touch.
buddy. I didn't.
Oh, really?
That. But again, I mean, you just look at some of this. This right here. This is a shotgun shell from
I like
hunt
that idea.
in Kansas. Those are bobwhite quail feathers, and these are dried forbs.
Yeah.
I think us conservationists, we're not calling them weeds, they're calling them forbs.
Looks like you got some sweet coneflower there and some switchgrass.
And that's got to be an aster at the top. No, goldenrod.
Yeah.
I think this is a goldenrod.
Yep. It's definitely an aster though.
Oh,
well,
something
the
late.
goldenrod is an aster, right? It's in the family. It's in the aster family.
Travis, you see how easy it is to get content out of these two? You just hold the plant up and they just go to town.
Well, notice how I didn't say anything, and they
you holding that shell casing up.
Yeah,
reminds me of something I just found in the woods while I was shed hunting. I went back to one of the farms that we hunted with you, and there may have been someone who had a pretty easy shot at a rooster after we'd been walking all day waiting for a rooster, and
a certain Lirio.
No, not
It
that
sounds
certain
like
somebody. A little bit.
Nicolas L.
No, I think it might have been me who missed, and I found. Or actually my friend who I was shed hunting with found one of my shell casings, and I'm like, I know the exact moment when this
was a miss, and it's going to be on
nice
national
to be able to
TV.
pick up some of my litter because I couldn't find the shell when I shot at the.
Was that in the cedars? Was that when we were walking in that?
Yep.
Yeah. That was a thicket, man.
That was.
Yeah, it was.
Is that
was
normal?
A beautiful rooster. I remember vividly seeing it fly right over your head.
Twice. I shot twice.
Oh yeah, because it like went around you. Yeah, I totally would have gone back.
It actually came back and said, "Yeah, you know what? I'll give that guy another chance."
He was toying with you.
Oh man. Okay, so Hoksey Native Seeds. That's where you guys work every single day. Nicolas, you are now the proud owner of it. The Prairie Farm Podcast. These gentlemen have been on our podcast now for 3 years. We've been having conversations.
Yep.
And you guys are kind enough to drive all the way up here today. You're warriors. I know you woke up at 4 a.m. to drive all the way up here. Along the way, you made a stop and recorded another podcast. And we're going to do another one after this.
That's right.
The world of podcasting. My goodness. Did you ever expect that you would be doing this? And for people that have listened prior, we do have very loyal listeners. So I know that a lot of them have heard our conversations in the past. They love it. They tell me they love having you guys on. I love it because if you can't tell, we just have fun.
Well, we get to meet them whenever we go to Pheasant Fest and we're at one of your events. We get to meet a lot of your listeners, and they're all great people.
Yeah. That's
There's
true.
a real community there that you deserve a lot of credit for bringing together around your show.
Thank you.
Well, I think
He
what
was
it
not
is.
looking at me. He was looking into my
is-
eyes.
I know, but
when
you
he
know.
said
I don't
that.
know who I originally heard this phrase from. I mean, it's kind of a touchy-feely thing, so I probably heard it from Nick. But it's like speaking words of life. You know what I mean? Have you heard that phrase? Like, speak words of life to people. Something that I think includes hope, optimism, glass half full type mentality. And that you can be guaranteed to find that every time you tune into this show. Not that it's all life.
I was going to go the other direction today because I am fired up.
But I was going to say, it's not that you're always saying, oh, life is all unicorns and rainbows and there's no bad in the world, but you finish with a positive, we can do this kind of mindset.
Well, and I firmly believe, Ken and I talk about this all the time, what's inside of you replicates itself outside of you. And I think that speaks highly to you.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone listening to this podcast who is regularly listening, getting a lot of Travis in their life, that's a lot of, I'm sure you're going to Midwestern slap this away, but there's a lot of goodness in that and listening to
you guys.
Dang it. Now I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah. And I mean, you do have this producer and he's, no, I'm just kidding.
I keep Travis young. That's
no,
what
you do a great job, Al. And I'm always, when I tune in, I'm always amazed at how well your dynamic works together. You know, because
this guy over here.
because Al, you don't really come from much of a hunting background, right?
I'm just here for comic relief.
How dare you be on a hunting
Yeah,
podcast and not hunt?
Trust me, I never thought I'd be here.
What would you say you do here?
Hang out. I'm
He
actually
ate pizza with us earlier.
I ate the client's pizza. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's right.
Man. Well, we appreciate you. And I think there's a handful of people that hunting as a whole should be proud that they are some of the leaders, and you're definitely one of them.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I didn't expect any of that, but I appreciate it. I listen to your podcast because of all the same reasons, and I love having you guys back in here and having conversations, and we stay in touch pretty regularly outside of turning a microphone on, but just because you see life in a way that I really appreciate and really respect. And, you'll say things like, I still remember the first time we did a show, it said, what do you want to leave us with, Nicholas? You said, I think smiles
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep.
Smiles make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that's the kind of attitude. You guys bring the exact same kind of thing. And we're talking about stuff that, land and grass and seeds and water quality and habitat and wildlife and hunting and all that stuff. But at the base of it, we're talking about life here too.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys do a very good job of keeping your listeners educated. You entertain us. The stories are awesome.
Except for when you talk about the Packers at some point. So I've heard that come up in a conversation at one point. I just skipped through that.
I remember listening to one where you said something and Sig was like, Bears suck.
Well, I can't agree with
the Packers suck. And then I texted the group text. I said, yeah, they do. The Bears do suck.
No, not the Bears, the Packers. The Bears are okay. I'm a Bears fan.
Oh, come on.
For better and for worse. It seems like it's for the better, though, here lately.
Yeah, this 1 year.
Not as good as the fact that I've been a Seahawks fan for quite a while.
Oh, good for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah. Let me guess, you're going to tell us you were born in Seattle.
I was born in Seattle.
See, there you go.
Wow, that's weird. I thought you were a Packers fan last year.
Like I just undercut your life history, your very birth.
When the hunt is on, your dog's performance matters. Every step, every sprint, every retrieve. It takes stamina, strength, and focus, and that starts with what's in their bowl. Black Gold dog food is crafted for active dogs, delivering the balanced nutrition they need to power through the season and beyond. Because a good diet isn't just fuel for today's hunt. It's the foundation for all-season performance. Visit blackgoldpet.com to learn more and find a retailer near you. Black Gold. Unleash adventure.
I get asked all the time about places to hunt in South Dakota. These questions usually come from out-of-town hunters that want the real South Dakota pheasant hunting experience for wild birds. My answer is Aberdeen. Aberdeen is a hub for out-of-town bird hunters. They have dog and hunter-friendly hotels and lodges where you can bring your own dogs and clean your own birds right there on site. They have thousands of acres of public land within a short drive of town, and there are wild pheasants on all of them. I know this because I've hunted several of these properties myself. I've seen those big flushes where the birds get up in waves, and it's awesome. In addition to the state and federal properties, they also have the Aberdeen Pheasant Coalition properties in the area that are open to public hunting. When you look at a map of publicly accessible places to hunt for wild birds in South Dakota and you zoom into the Aberdeen area, you'll see what I mean. To learn more about Aberdeen's pheasant hunting opportunities and get a free hunting guide, head to huntfishsd.com.
Hey, Flush fans, the Minnesota Horse and Hunt Club has expanded into South Dakota. Oak Tree by Horse and Hunt is the ultimate South Dakota pheasant hunting lodge. 15,000 square feet with private bedrooms, 6,000 premier acres, full hospitality and bar, and open to the public. 2-night, 3-day packages September through March are available. Book your next hunt today. Visit huntoaktree.com. That's huntoaktree.com.
I don't know how long into this conversation we are.
Like 24-ish.
24 minutes and we haven't even gotten to anything.
That's
okay,
right.
okay, hold on a second. Time out, guys. The Farm Bill just dropped the it's not anti-hunting. It kind of is anti-hunting language that was inserted into it, but basically it would have put a damper or made it illegal to do some sort of training techniques in the...
These are with live birds, right?
The live birds. Yep. So the language was extremely vague, written into it for something else, but then it would affect us, dog training and hunting with dogs. And so that has been dropped out of the Farm Bill, which is a big deal.
Wow.
The news just came out.
That just happened.
Yeah, that
because
just happened.
Pheasant Forever, they were kind of the big ones going toe to toe with it, saying like, this cannot be in there, right?
So it's interesting, and I want to get into this topic a little bit more because there's a lot happening in each state, and then in Washington D.C.
Yeah,
certainly I'm fired up about the Boundary Waters and the news that just broke there. But what we see in our algorithm, guys, is really always one-sided. Okay. And for a while there, my algorithm kept showing me on social media, because this is my world, this is the world that I'm in, that, everyone's like, they're coming for hunting. They're anti-hunters are at it again. Yeah. We need to stop this and everything. And they were talking about this in the Farm Bill, the language that was written in there. And so I kept seeing it all over the place. And then I had a conversation with somebody at Pheasants Forever, and they said, so just so you know, we do have people in Washington, D.C., and they're having conversations with people there. We're grateful for a farm bill. We do not want to derail a farm bill. We need a farm bill. This is language that we're working on, and we do believe that it's going to be taken out. And so that gave me a lot of peace early on when this first was announced that there was potential for this to be included in the farm bill. So now they did follow up on it, and they did take that out, which is a huge thing for us in this space. And grateful that we have people that understand it, that can communicate it. And then what we think is the right thing to be done has been done. Now you look at the boundary waters.
Yeah.
The announcement just came out that the Senate voted to allow the potential for mining near the edge of the boundary waters. And I actually have camped on the lake that the shoreline of the lake where this proposed mine is going to be, and it's at the headwaters. And so while it's not inside the Boundary Waters Canoe Area wilderness, it is on the edge, and it flows through it all in the Rainy River watershed in the Voyageurs National Park. I mean, just like it could potentially impact one of the most unbelievable gems in North America and the world that we still have right here. And so my algorithm, I come back to this, my algorithm is 100% pissed off about this. And that's how I feel. But I think, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Okay, there's two sides to every story. So what is the reason for it? Because why are they not listening to the American people? Why are they not listening to the voices of the opposition, which are so much louder, and so many more people are saying, we do not want this. You are an elected official, elected to represent us. Why are you not listening? There's not people saying, yes, we want this. We want this. But I'm not hearing it because the algorithm tells me only one side of the story. And you guys are the deep thinkers. So I think I should go quiet here and let you guys fill us off.
Can I say something, even though I'm not as deep of a thinker as them, before they get deep?
Yeah.
I agree with you. My algorithm has been mostly that, but Minnesota Bound has made a post about it, and people have made a post about it. Yeah. And I see a lot of people saying, okay, well, in Canada, they have a good mining industry. They can regulate it. And a lot of people saying, oh, well, this would help the economy, everything like that. The only thing is, it's a Chilean mining company. It's not an American mining company. If it was an American mining company, I could kind of understand, like, I just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean I couldn't understand the economic impacts of it. But it's a Chilean mining company. It's not like it's really helping us in any way, in my opinion. But
there's so many facets of this story, right? Yeah. So one side of the Senate is celebrating. This is a great victory for the American people. And the other side is furious. This is an absolute horrendous day. And I love that place. I've been going there for over 25 years. I think it's a treasure, and I want it to be protected forever. That's where I stand on it. So I'm trying to understand, how do we get to this place? We only hear one side of the story. We only preach to the choir. We talk to our friends that they feel the exact same way about it, and then there's the other side that's probably doing the exact same thing about this particular topic. This happens every day in all sort of political walks of life out there. But you look at who voted for what, and it's such a hard, this group voted in favor of mining. This group did not. But they're not necessarily voting based on the people that they represent. They're just staying in the party lines. Yeah. Why are we at this
I heard
point?
that, especially for this bill, that was a big thing, that people behind the scenes were saying they didn't agree with it, but still voted for it to stay within the party lines.
Yeah. I think there's, so much more to politicking than what we ever see and could even possibly comprehend. And I think that's a huge part of it, as far as, deals being made. Hey, I feel, it's the old, well, how important is this to you? I don't know. It's kind of, I guess. Well, it's really important to me. And I know next month we're going to be talking about this, which is really important to you. And you give me some support here and I'll be remembering you and you're important. I imagine that's just speculative, but I would imagine
there's a lot of that.
Yeah. I would imagine there's a lot of that goes on. And, the power of the party lines is obviously powerful enough to where it's almost laughable to call us the United States of America anymore. You know, we're so divided along party lines on almost everything that,
to the point that some families don't get together at holidays anymore because they can't agree. Right. They're so heated that they can't have conversations and look at both sides. And the only reason, like, to
the point that it destroys us, we obey the party line. And most people want most of the same things. And I think that we would do well to remember that. I think we would do well. So much of campaigning now is to remind us of how bad we have it. But in reality, we got a lot of good going on. And there's such an abundance in so many areas of our lives.
We've never, as a society here in America, had it better.
Right. Yeah.
As a whole. Right. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. I totally in most things that are quantifiable. Yes.
I mean, hard labor that our ancestors had to endure to survive.
Yeah.
We can't even grasp some of that at this point in our lives. How simple we've made life.
Mm-hmm.
And how easy it is to survive.
Yeah.
You know, but at the cost of what?
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing some of that now too. And
that's where I'd say the areas where we are lacking, but we fail to put our finger on those areas. You know, the things that we have lost as a result, as fallout for having the comforts that we have. We can play, a bajillion hours of youth sports, for, 15 years of our kids' upbringing. But as a result, we have way less time around the dinner table as a family or so there's trade-offs in there that in some ways we probably aren't better, but overall life is good here in America and it has been for quite some time. And, there certainly are areas that need to improve. And I would even say that life is not equally good for all people in America, and we should try to close that gap where we can. And especially as we look back in history, life was pretty good in the 1950s for guys like me, but not for, Black people living in the South. And thankfully we're, closing that gap. And so we certainly aren't perfect here, but we've had things pretty good for a pretty long time. And when we see things like the Boundary Waters mining deal get passed, a lot of that comes from the idea of you don't have enough. This is going to be worth it because it's going to make your life better. And you should be angry that someone out there is trying to hold out on you and not allow you to tap into this so that you can have, X, Y, and Z that will make your life better. And instead we should be saying, wow, we already got so many good things that we should be content
what's next?
With.
We're just by nature, what's next? What's next?
Right.
What can I get next? Add to it more and more. It's greed. It's money and greed. I mean, we don't, if we save the Boundary Waters and I don't get a new iPhone, I'm okay.
Well, but
you're okay. We're all going to be okay.
Right.
That's what I've been hearing. People are like, "Oh, well, your electric car that you're driving needs minerals that they're going to mine in the Boundary Waters." It's like, okay, there's hundreds of other mines.
So we've talked about this many times. It's not ours. It's just our turn.
Right.
The cost of what we have taken from this earth is showing itself.
Yeah. I have a few points and I want to be really clear. I sent 2 emails to senators saying vote no against this. So that's where I personally stand on.
Good old Nick virtue signal.
Yeah, you know me. I gotta let people know that I'm better than Kent. But I'll take you back first to your algorithm point. I was speaking with someone very high level professional on Facebook ads, and she may or may not have worked for a big tech company before she joined a marketing agency, and
her name may or may not have been. No.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble. And she said, Nicholas, the algorithm isn't about just showing you topics or different kinds of people that agree with you. They track what color is on the screen when the thing first comes up. They track the cadence that they talk in. It's not just topics coming out of you. You are actively being brainwashed. She said, look at your phone. If you are on any social media, everyone look at your phone screen time. If you're on any social media, 20 minutes or more for more than half of the days, which is about every single human in the United States, 98% of us or more, you are brainwashed. And we need to admit that we're brainwashed. And because everyone is that's how our brains, it's the path of least resistance. Our brains want to be brainwashed so that information comes easier to us. We don't want to struggle to remember it every single time we're coming up. So we want some base levels. Well, you can actually reset those base levels. That's why those cheesy tapes in the 80s that would sit there and be like, you are amazing. They actually worked for people because you're literally brainwashing your brain to believe something. And that happens on social media at a level we can't even comprehend. Mm-hmm. And so we need to admit to ourselves, like, Nicolas Lirio, I am brainwashed. What am I brainwashed with? So it's no longer a question of, I don't want to be brainwashed. I don't want. Unless you've got a stronger stance on social media than I do, and maybe you do, and that's amazing. Unless that's the case, you're brainwashed. And now ask yourself, what are you brainwashed with? I think that's really important to go into it. But yes, my algorithm is filled with people that are angry. The argument that I hear that is proposed, the only one that makes sense to me is an economic argument, because there is very strong evidence that money does not make you happier after $86,000 a year. The study was done, it was $72,000 a year, but it was about 8 years ago. So that's now $86,000 a year. 86
with inflation.
Yep, exactly. And the reason,
man, that is depressing. Right? 72K is now 86.
Oh yeah. Man. Well, and the reason is because 86 takes the stress of providing, right? Unless you're a way overspender, you're not worried about your mortgage getting paid. You're not worried about your food. You're not worried about your car. If your car breaks down, you probably have a little bit of money in the bank account and you're paying your health care, right? So everything else is, and then past that, I'm not saying it's just greed. I think there are people that are millionaires that steward their money really, really well. I've seen it, I'm not one of them, but I'm just not a millionaire.
So that's just the second part. You are a millionaire.
Yeah, I just don't steward it really well. Yeah. I got into
he's been playing us this whole time.
Oh yeah. I got into conservation because how much money we make in conservation. Oh man. And so that's the best argument is like, hey, this will bring up the baseline of the United States. There is an argument that billionaires are making way more money than the lower class. That is totally true. But billionaires never advance without the lower class also, their baseline also going up. I do think that the wealthiest are getting wealthier faster than the lower class are getting wealthier. But the lower class in the United States, the lowest class, used to die of starvation, right? And so do they have enough money in their bank account to pay their phone bill all the time? No, they do not. And that is a problem. And I think not to give handouts, but we should help with actual system solutions in there. But in terms of quality of life, they don't die of starvation anymore. Nobody in the United States dies of starvation if they're able to make the choice. I think there are some issues with like children not being old enough to make wise decisions and their parents making very poor decisions. But anyone who's able to make the choice, they don't. And so there is a baseline that is wealthier than it was before. So I'm not a big fan of arguing about how much more wealthy people have than me. But all that being said, I do think that it is a huge, huge net negative with the boundary waters. We just can't quantify it because Kent and I talk about this all the time. If your quality of life is always measurable on a graph, you're tracking the wrong things, right? A lot of your quality of life comes with, Kent talks about sitting around with his family and thinking, I am wealthy, like watching his kids play. And that really struck me when he first said that. So I started to try to think about times in my life when I could go, man, I'm wealthy. All of my siblings like hanging out with each other and we call each other and I get to think, man, I'm wealthy.
Do you guys have deep conversations as a family?
Yeah. And we argue, but yeah, we have really deep
You work through it.
Yeah.
I just think that's really a beautiful thing because I know so many that can't. Yeah. If this topic came up and there's opposition one way or another, it turns red versus blue. There's no way to listen to the other side. You're not listening to the answer. You're just listening to the question, and then you're trying to figure out how you're going to punch back, and it ends terribly.
Yeah. Ken and I were just talking about how we're the buttheads in our family sometimes, because we're so strong-willed and we have such strong opinions. And we're like, "Did you hear what happened in the Boundary Waters?" And our family's like, "All right, well, the chicken's done, so let's sit down."
You too. Well, I hope you're okay with me sharing this, Kent, but we were texting a couple weeks ago just about life and family and kids. And, there's just been a lot discussed in Iowa lately about the cancer and the rates going up and it being tied to agriculture and farming. And you saying, I, as a father, start to feel like, am I endangering my kids? I mean, this isn't the exact words, but this is the gist of the conversation that we had. By keeping them here, am I endangering my family by living here? That's going through your mind. I hope it's okay that I share that, and but that's still a real thing for you. I mean, that is
absolutely it is.
As a father, and you have young kids, you are thinking about just because of what is being put on the soil in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely right. And the fact that this isn't new news to us. I mean, sure, we have more data that's come
Is it
up.
that it's quantifiable right now? There are reports coming out saying these counties in particular have the highest rates of cancer.
Yeah, right. We have that. There's a map you can literally go on, and you can kind of toggle over the counties and see what I think they break it down by ethnicity and gender. And you can see what is your probability of developing cancer in your county, or just the prevalency for your dynamic. And we have the second highest cancer rate. That this people have been saying that for a while. This most recent study just confirms that. And I've heard it said both. We have the fastest growing or the second fastest growing, and most of the other states, I believe, have a shrinking cancer prevalency.
The only ones that are growing similarly, they have very high tobacco and alcohol use. So they have other things that are going on there that are heavily correlated. Like Kentucky has a very high rate, but they've
cancer.
Yes, but they've got some real impoverished areas where it's heavy use in tobacco.
Well, and there's a lot of environmental hazards in Kentucky too, because of the days of all the strip mining that was going on there and things. So that's speculative on my end, but I've always viewed it that way. And I believe West Virginia is another one of the highest prevalencies, and that's another mining. I think they're number one actually for their cancer.
They also have
prevalence.
a high poverty rate too.
Yeah.
But I not to cut you off, Iowa's just the only one in that echelon of cancer rate that we actually smoke and drink less than by far than the average state or per capita.
Well, and that I would, and the thing about smoking and drinking is I would almost expect that rate to be in decline for almost every state because of how much money has been put on the, when we were kids, DARE, that kind of
DARE communities.
Yeah. And remember the commercials, the don't use tobacco, the cowboy who's singing through the little, tray pole in his neck. Yeah. So there's been a lot of that messaging, and it's been successful. Less people smoke now that I observed. Remember when they had smoking sections in the restaurants when we were kids? Or if you
a lot of kids my age don't even really drink anymore. I mean, that's a restaurant.
I've heard
another
that too,
topic for bars and stuff too. But people my age, my generation don't really smoke or drink anymore.
Yeah,
and field parties are down, I'm hearing. This is actually a topic that came up about 2 weeks ago amongst some other friends of mine that I graduated with, because we had some ragers, let me tell you.
Yeah, that was
I wasn't always...
No, I think it depends where you live, though, where you grow up. Like, I feel like if you grow up in the country, it just happens because that just, I don't know, that's just the culture of what people do.
Yeah, big pallet fire.
The problem is, everyone knows where everyone's at right now. Life 360. I know where my kids are at all times. I know
that's true. There's no sneaking out.
You can't get away from that. I mean, we had some major parties, but right now you could have a party for like 5 minutes and every cop in the county.
I feel like that the Life 360 thing is another pod. You could do a whole podcast on that. But like, how do you use it? Do you just have it just in case for your kids? Like when they're teenagers, are you gonna like monitor them heavy, or do you just have it just in case?
Have you listened to Jonathan Haidt's stuff on it?
No.
The Anxious Generation.
Yeah.
No,
highly recommend that.
but
book.
these children don't throw the parties anymore because they're afraid that anything they do or say is going to be recorded.
Yeah.
And because I asked a couple of the parents and teachers in school, I go, do they do the parties that we used to? Because we had some fun, and they're like, no, unfortunately, kind of, because it's like, it's part of being a kid, right? I mean, anybody listening right now probably has some great memories from some shenanigans.
My mom
back in high school.
A good point one time when I got in trouble for something, and I was like, well, you can put a tracker on my phone if you want. Like, I just want to go hang out with my friend. She's like, why would I put a tracker on your phone? Like, I learned from making mistakes. Like, you're a kid. I'm not gonna watch where you go all the time. Like, it's your own life. You got to make those decisions to learn from.
Anxious generation, and I don't have any kids, so I can't relate, but anxious generation summed up in one sentence that kids are way under monitored on screens and way over monitored everywhere else.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
That's a good point.
Okay, so that is something that any parent should hear and do something about. Now the question is, will they? Okay, so I'm going to apply this exactly into the cause for rising cancer rates in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
good segue.
We know what's causing it.
Yeah,
we know what's causing it.
Yeah,
are we going to do anything about it?
Well, you say that we know what's causing it. And I think, the old gun to your head, tell me what you think is really causing it. I would agree with you that the answer would come out. However, there's such a heavy, anything that would suggest that the way agriculture is going in Iowa isn't good for Iowa is it's the underdog point of view, right? Those who hold the power. Even though I think that the number of people in Iowa who feel like what you just said is true and would say that, I think ag, I don't have anything against farmers, but I think in this case, this isn't good for us. I think most people in Iowa would agree with that. However, the powers that be, the biggest, deepest pocketed lobbyists in our state who hold the most influence from a legislative outcome standpoint, they at least tell themselves they aren't convinced that is the case. And they lobby to protect things staying the way they are.
Because it's producing and it's producing well.
And it's providing for them.
Yeah.
And it's paying their bills and it's growing their wealth. And the trade-off is all of these problems that we're concerned about. And now we're to the point where it's a concern. I'm not the only person who's had this thought of, am I doing right by my kids having them live here? I've had this conversation just off the top of my head with at least two other people of their thinking about leaving the state.
But the thing is, it's not just Iowa. I mean, if I look at the Minnesota map, where is cancer rates the highest? Southwest farm country.
Yep.
I mean, it's
and
the same
that's
thing
a big
there.
question. Where would you even go? You're going to go from the second worst cancer rate to the third worst? You know what I mean? It's like, do you just totally pick up and
I guess
move across the country?
Well, okay, so we're talking about this. We know the value of wetlands and grassland. We know that 95% of them have disappeared, so we can grow row crops. That's factual, right? So now we're trying to keep those lands producing as high as possible by dumping chemicals on them, right?
Yeah. And sorry, did you have?
No, jump in. You can jump in.
I would say that there should be 4 safety valves, and each one has failed us ecologically and health-wise in Iowa. So you've got political or legislative. That one should be keeping us safe. And the whole bear tort immunity thing, that is like just pure legislation failure for human health and ecology.
Summarize that real quick for somebody who doesn't understand it.
Bayer first went to Iowa and it didn't work, and then they went to the federal level.
Okay, who is Bayer?
Well,
Bayer,
it's not. I don't think it's just Bayer. I think it's the agrochemical industry.
Yeah, but Bayer was
what does
the
Bayer
one.
produce?
Bayer. So originally they produced gas for chambers during World War II, and now they produce Roundup. And they bought Monsanto, and they produce Roundup, and they're out of Germany. And they are really pushing toward immunity. And to be fair, there is nuance to it. But I think anyone who would say like, yeah, we don't actually know all of the future issues with it, so we're just not going to let them have responsibility. I've said this on our podcast a bunch of times. They can make their $1 billion, but they're on the hook for billions of dollars of lawsuits if they cause health. You know what I mean? Like in a capitalistic society, shoot your shot, but know it's worth the risk. And they want to take away the risk. And I don't like that one bit. But the other side of the legislation,
and you believe,
and I believe,
because they know that there's harm being caused by their product.
Yeah, that's public information. They lost a lawsuit and they had to release all of those public files. I mean, you can read them. I think
it was over $200 million lawsuit, wasn't it? That
yes, and one of
settlement was or something.
One
like
of my
that.
dear friends' dads got a payout for it, so I know it was real, and he followed it all the way. And Zach Lane, who's running for governor, came on our podcast, talked about it. So I actually looked into it a little bit, and those files are public, so you can look into them. It's a health concern. The second one from legislation would then be larger businesses, right? So, but part of the reason the legislation is failing is because larger agribusinesses are pushing them in a direction. Now, I want to be clear. Places like Farm Bureau, they're not advocating for cancer in Iowa. They are incentivized based on what incentivizes them to have more acres on the land, right? They get paid to insure more acres. So less acres on the land.
Their crop insurance is what he's talking about.
So less acres on, thank you, Ken. Less acres on the land means less payment for them. So I understand, to some degree where their incentive is, but also if you just zoom out and you think like, as a decent organization, we should do this thing. Now, the third one is the producers or farmers, and the fourth one are the buyers. So us, people purchasing the actual product. And those two, the large two, fail because of power and grabs for power. The smaller two, the farmers and the consumers, they fail from, I don't have a word for it right now, but it's almost always this. Yeah, I get it, but we got to be reasonable. We got to make a living. Or if you're on the consumer side, well, I know, but I could buy that grass-fed beef that I know helps put more pasture on the landscape, but it's $2 more for beef. And then I wouldn't be able to have my boat payment. You know what I mean? And so it's just,
it always comes down to money.
Yeah. And so all four of those valves have failed. And I would say you're right, for the same reason, through the same thinking model. And I don't think we can even stay in that model of thinking and get ourselves out of the cancer issue in our agricultural states. I called out a couple.
I'm going to take this down so you're not staring through your antlers. Sorry.
I called out a
Don't
couple.
Don't take mine away. I like them too.
I called out a couple. There's a bunch of there are millions and millions of organizations, whether it's individual people or actual organizations, that are fighting in the same direction. Right. And the same direction is money and power. So they're just two examples. They're bigger, broader examples. And they have a piece to play in it, but so do I when I'm at the grocery store,
So I think what I was going to wrap up my thought and then let you go. And I'm glad you covered all that. I think our listeners are very smart. I think most hunters, especially in this space, understand the value of grass and water. Clean water. I think we get it. A lot of times I think we preach to the choir and we talk amongst those who understand it. And, a lot of people listening right now are like, yeah, I get it. This is ridiculous. What do we do though to change what we have right now in the direction we're going? Because we can talk about this all day and people can say, this is not healthy. This is not right. Or I have cancer because of this, or whatever it might be. What do we actually do? How long do we sit around as a society and talk about it without holding somebody accountable, without making a change, without doing something?
I have a good like maybe metaphor is the right word for this. So yesterday I was telling you earlier that I met with a state forester and my dad. He has a farm in Southwest Iowa, and he's got a timber down there, and about 10 years ago or so, a logger approached him and said, "Hey, I'd like to log some of your walnut trees, and this is how much I'll pay for you." And at the time, we didn't know much about what that all entailed and everything. And it wasn't like it was a bad experience or anything, but I had learned more over the course of those, following years. And I thought, you know what, I should have a state forester out here to come and look at this timber and just assess it for its health and what do they think and what improvements could we do. And at that time, so this would have been back in 2020, I viewed it mostly as this would be a great place to make better for deer hunting, right? And I think this goes along the lines too with those family discussions where people lose their cool and they only see things one way or the other. We should all be evolving as people. We shouldn't be staying stagnant with the way we think and the way we view things
or devolving sometimes.
Yeah. We should be changing when we are presented with new information. And so it's interesting because in 2020, I had that forester out there to that timber and she made a wonderful plan for us and everything. And she had said, hey, if somebody ever approaches you about logging this place, just talk to me first, then I can make sure that it's going to go well. They didn't do a bad job, but there's definitely some things I wish would have been done differently here. And your timber would be a little healthier just a month or two ago, my dad was approached again by another logging company. And I'd remembered when she had been there that time, not only had she said that, but she had said, wow, they really got a lot of your walnuts, didn't they? And I thought, man, that's not good. Those take a long time to grow. They're high value trees and they serve an important role in the ecosystem, but at least they weren't oaks because big bucks like oaks, that's how I was thinking back then. And just over the past 6 years, I've evolved so much as a person and how I view our ecosystems and if the deer hunting's great, but I just want a healthy forest is more my mentality now. And so we were approached by the logger again. So I called up the forester and I was like, hey, someone asked to log again. Would you mind coming back? And so we did that yesterday. And there were a lot of chores that she had listed for us that we should do to make this timber healthier. And we never got around to them over the last 6 years. It's far enough away. There's all the excuses for why we couldn't do it. My dad has retired since then, so he's got more time now. If I told you every excuse for why we haven't gotten going on the plan yet, it would make sense. Yep, those are good reasons. But the fact is we still haven't gotten going on it. And yesterday, my dad and I were standing there. We're like, wow, this is very doable. I know we're both busy, but on this date, we're going to come out here for 2 days and we're going to do this phase of the project. We're just going to do it. And so that's good, right? That's good that we're making that action. But think of how much further along if over the last 6 years, if we'd made 2 days a summer to chip away at this plan, we'd probably be out of the maintenance phase now. We'd be seeing a lot of the fruits of our labor already paying off on the health of that timber and the way that ecosystem would respond. And the change would be happening. So the best day to get it going was back in 2020. The second best day is
today.
Now. Yeah.
Today. Yeah.
And so we got to look at all of these changes the same way. And it starts small, right? The first step is to do invasive shrub removal. We have some multiflora rose in there. We need to go in and we need to remove that multiflora rose. And if somebody wants to make a big change in how they're behaving as a consumer, and not just a consumer in the what are they buying, but what are they actually putting in their body, consumer. That's the term for us in an ecosystem. That's our ecological role as a consumer. They should find something simple that they can start. Maybe it's like what you've done where you've said, I'm going to have a little flock of chickens that my family's going to get our poultry products from. That's a great first step. That's a pretty big first step because there's a lot of commitment to that. But that's a great first step for somebody to do. Growing your own tomatoes, another great first step. Growing some carrots, and then
I can't grow carrots very well. I don't know if it's my soil or what. Maybe you guys could help me out there.
It might
they just don't amount to much. It's all greens on top.
Oh, hey, whoa, small carrot's still a carrot. All right.
I know, but it's one bite. I want 6
called
bites.
Baby carrots.
Yeah.
Baby carrot. I'm a big dude. My wife and I, when we go to the grocery store, every time we're getting a bag of baby carrots, and I just when I'm
but
working.
Baby carrots are just big carrots that are like ground down to look like baby carrots.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's what they are.
Really?
Yeah. They're just like whittled down.
Yeah.
You think they grow perfectly round like that, Nicholas?
No. What they're great for is when I'm working from home, I just have them sit on my desk.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I'm either munching on that or like Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah,
So,
but don't they wash them in chlorine?
It probably, yeah. I
That
don't
white
know.
stuff? No, I'm serious.
real?
Yes, look it
They
up.
do have a little chemically smell.
They've got that
or
white
like a
stuff on
slippery-
top of when you bring them out of that bag.
I don't know.
Look it up. I could be wrong there, but they wash them in some sort of a wash to clean
I
them.
wouldn't be surprised.
And
They're
then it's like, what are we doing here? Why did we have to do that?
But point being, we can take these small steps, and I've been
Yes.
saying this for a few years now on the podcast, but it's true, and there's different aspects of our life that we can do. And I think, a hunting thing is, I think most people are interested in eating what they hunt, right? But most people that hunt, I would say, don't depend on what they hunt, right? So
Right.
if I'm a bow hunter, and it is common for a bow hunter to be like, this year I'm just not going to fill my tag. I just didn't see that buck that I wanted. And
Wouldn't it be great to live off of what you harvest?
yeah. I mean, I turned down
it'd be like, all right, Turkey Tuesday, Wild Game
Ken,
Wednesday. It's a
actually-
free for all. You get whatever you want.
The percentage of Kent's household's food that they harvest from their yard or from Kent's just sheer amazing hunting skills.
Right, yeah.
How much money would you say you save doing that?
Up front, you don't save much, right? Because when you
gotta
make
pay.
you're paying for your gear and for
and gas to get to wherever you're hunting.
But now-
for a pheasant,
but
you're
now, like-
spending a lot of money
right.
for a pheasant.
But now a lot of my deer come off I walk to my stand, from my house.
Yeah.
And all that money he tracks, he knows how much money he saves, and then he spends at the taxidermist.
That's right. Yeah, look at behind you there.
It'd be
That's
nice,
a couple $100
it'd be nice
right
if I
there.
shot big enough bucks for that to be true. But the point is, like, there's even that would be a good adjustment. Like, be content to I'll just take a doe and that'll be my family's.
What do you got against does?
Why'd you
got? Why'd you say it just?
Well, there's no trophy value to a doe. I mean,
There's no
they're
horn, but it still tastes
yeah,
good.
yeah, that's right. And focus on the food, and
Status.
Yeah,
There's
be
less
like, if I'm going to
status,
be
yeah.
out
I
here,
ate
then
deer yesterday.
good. That's
Yeah,
great.
I know, and I love every second of it.
And I think if we start celebrating that aspect, and not to say that it's not celebrated, there are tons of hunters out there that, man, that's all they eat protein wise is what they harvest, and that is just humbling to be around people like that. But that's another first step that I think even people tuning in now can start to focus on is. And I'm not here to say that we could supply all of the nation's meat on our wild game. We tried doing that once.
Just to wrap
and we
this
ran
topic up here, we've talked about this before. We produce 2 times more food in America than we need, right? We throw away 50% of what we grow.
Yeah,
That's
roughly,
a number that's out there. You can look it up, right, Nicholas?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere in the pipeline. There's a bunch of different places we throw out food in the pipeline from farm or production to when people eat it. And somewhere in there, 50% of the food.
40 years sure is a long time to be in business, and that's exactly how long Walton's has been helping America's butchers, hunters, anglers, and families prepare their meat. That is quite a milestone, and to that, I say, Walton's, congratulations on 40 years in business to your entire family. I sincerely hope that you know how hard they work to provide all of us with the right tools to process and prepare all of our hard-earned meat. Walton's motto is everything but the meat for a reason. They have everything we need to process every cut of meat you can think of. And after a long hunting season, I'm hoping you have a freezer full of it. If you're looking to make sausage, jerky, snack sticks, roast, you name it, Walton's can help you with the tools and the knowledge to do it right the first time. Check them out at waltons.com. And congratulations on 40 years in business. You've earned our trust. If you're looking to sharpen your upland shooting skills, or maybe your kids are starting to get into the sport like mine are, then you need to check out GAIM. That's GAIM. Our friends over there are changing the way we approach training. Their cutting-edge virtual reality hunting and shooting scenarios immerse you in the field without actually leaving your home. Whether it's game birds or clays, the GAIM system allows you to practice your shotgun mechanics, giving you real-time shot feedback that allows for instant adjustments. And it's been incredibly fun for my kids. It allows them to safely build confidence, which I know translates to success in the field. Virtual training, real results. Click the show description below to learn more, or visit their website at game.com to try for yourself. That's GAIM.com.
If you're heading out on the next hunt, don't forget the teammate who never complains and never misses, your dog. At Roughland, we built the ultimate travel system for hunting dogs and the people who run with them. It starts with our one-piece kennels, built tough to handle rough roads, cold mornings, and whatever else the season throws at you. From there, customize your system with stackable gear, food and water containers, organization trays, or insulated covers. Everything is lightweight, field-tested, and made right here in the USA. Because let's be real, we don't deserve great dogs, but great dogs, they deserve a Roughland. Visit roughlandkennels.com today and build your version of the ultimate travel system before your next flush.
Here's a scouting tip that might just help you find a few more wild birds. First, grab your phone and then open up the onX Hunt app. In the bottom right corner, click on the 2D button and then select 3D. Then place 2 fingers on the screen of your phone and slide them up together at the same time. After that, zoom into a property that you've hunted before or one that you've never been to and take a look at the terrain in 3D. I bet you'll see a few nooks and crannies that will hold birds out of the elements. I bet you'll see the land in a dimension that you never thought possible. These are the details that matter when you're putting miles on the truck and on your boots during a hunt. onX Hunt is the ultimate tool for us bird hunters. It shows our position on planet Earth, land boundaries, land topography, burns, forests that have been logged, weather, and a whole bunch of other features that will make you a better hunter. If you've never tried the onX Hunt app, then you can download a free 7-day trial to help you understand why hunters like myself simply can't hunt without it. Know where you stand with onX Hunt. So are we in an age of information right now? Maybe our current,
we're learning that
we're learning so much about
is, yeah.
Now we have to go back and fix some of the mistakes that we've been making. So we're in this learning stage where our kids and their kids are going to be continuously trying to, all right, undo what we've done there. Maybe the 95% of wetlands that we lost in our lifetime, we might see it be brought back to like 90 and then maybe 85. And we start realizing that this is part of health for the world that needs to go back. Yeah. Oh gosh, I hope so. Yeah. It just takes one person at a time.
If you look at just generally what food costs, the big argument is, well, we cannot feed that many people unless we do industrial ag at the scale we're doing it with the chemicals we do it at. There's no way we could feed the world. We had a really great podcast with a lady named Molly Pickering from Illinois, and she said, why do we need to feed the world? Why can't we just feed our region? And there's going to be major exports from every region, but why, and Illinois, they talk about feeding the world. They import 95% of their food. So it's not a good argument, but let's say that it was a good argument. Yeah. Well, if food cost more, if there was less of it and we threw less of it away and it still cost a little bit more, what does that mean? That means less luxury for most of us. And I know it's just not sexy to say, but like, what if you didn't have any TVs, any streaming services? You drove places a lot less because you were more content to be at home with your stead. You bought a much smaller house. What if your house was 650 square feet? But what if that was the case?
We got 4 kids, okay? That's
dude. Can I make a point on the not driving anywhere though?
Sure.
Do you feel like that touches a topic of when we make cities or plan cities, things aren't very walkable in a lot of places, whereas in Europe or big cities.
So maybe you have to go to less places is the point.
Yeah.
Because we go somewhere every single day. We interviewed a episode just dropped today, Friday, the 16th, 18th, something like that. Valerie Van Coten, she's read tons of pioneer journals. And she's like, the women didn't really leave the house. And it wasn't like, oh, they did all the work here. It was just a lot of the humans, including the kids and the women, and often the husbands were working from home. They'd stay home all week and then leave Sunday and go to church, and then they come back. And we don't understand how much we consume all around us. Think of how many single-use plastics we use all the time. And I'm not a big like ban all the plastics. We need to take this choice away. We need to think about like the sheer amount of
everything is wrapped in it though. Everything you buy is wrapped in it.
Even the stuff that's recyclable is wrapped in the plastic.
I know.
That's true.
I just was talking to my wife about this. I'm like, gosh, I don't care what it is. Just put it in the Tupperware. I'm so tired of seeing plastic bags. I don't want to buy another Ziploc carton. I just don't. Just put it in Tupperware. I'll wash it. I don't care. I don't need to see anything go in a plastic bag ever again because I'm so sick of all of these cans being filled up every single week.
Yeah, plastics.
Yeah, the amount of garbage you look down every street, it's unbelievable. If everybody if it's one bag a week, or sorry, I say bag. I know that's a Minnesota.
I say bag too. Yeah, I got made fun of.
So if everyone just throws one less away a week, we're talking millions.
Oh yeah. Or my wife and I we are racked our brains since we opened our coffee shop. We have racked our brains. How can we get rid of single-use cups? And it boils down to people don't have the value. Like even if we said, hey, we'll give you the mason jar, you don't have to pay for it. Bring it back, and as long as you bring it back, we'll give you another one for free. That
is a cool
right?
thing.
You just keep exchanging it.
I drive to Iowa just to fill that.
Or like maybe like a discount if you bring your own cup, if you bring your own mug rather than using one of the cups.
And the truth. Well, so here's the problem.
Oh yeah, you hit them with double their price if they need to buy a cup.
Maybe not double.
No, seriously, double the price because then it'll
really
make them.
incentivized.
Everything is money driven.
Yeah.
We already have confirmed that the human nature is to be more and more and more, and it's driven by money. So if you're gonna double the price, then
or convenience. I mean, think of how huge of a hassle it is to have to bring a cup when you go to the coffee shop. If you think about it from like a grand scheme of things, it's a nothing. But if you think, well, every morning I got to remember to bring my mason jar, and then I got to bring it into Spire. I just, and even I would think like, I ain't doing that every single day. You know what I mean? We've just gotten to a level where we are privileged enough to be able to think about that.
So never had it so easy, guys. I want to transition to what you guys are working on at the Hoksey right now at the Prairie Farm. I had written this down. I don't really ever have notes, but I wrote a couple thoughts down here to make sure we hit a couple topics. But one thing I was wondering, would you guys qualify for a CRP? Because CRP enrollment is currently open in America. Could you enroll your...
Look at their smile on their faces.
Yeah. You'd be double dipping. You'd get paid to have grass on the landscape, and then you harvest it and sell it. You double dip.
You cannot harvest off of CRP acres, so you can't.
All right, good. You guys passed the test. It's very simple. So, what are you guys doing on?
We do.
Farm?
I did plant some CRP on our farm though this winter. There's a particular spot that had been in Indian grass for decades. And
was that terrace on the south side?
Yeah, we did walk by it. Yeah, remember where like 50 birds were down there by that burn pile and all that, and then we walked further west.
Mm-hmm. Oh, went up the hill.
Yeah, and it was down that steep hill. That hill's too steep to do anything but grass on. And the problem is
where the old lake was, or the old pond.
So remember we called it the dry pond, and there was all that horsetail, or you guys might notice snake grass. I think we busted one hen out of there in that area there. And so the problem for us is it's fine when it's an Indian grass production field, but the problem is we have to cycle our fields because they start to, become depleted of the same nutrients after decades of growing there and being harvested from.
You're talking at Hoksey.
Right. Yeah. And so it's just highly erodible ground. It worked fine, like I said, when we had it in grass production, but when we cycle a field, we have to do a couple years of soybeans. There's just a lot of erosion there. Yeah. And so instead of continuing to crop it, we just decided, let's just make it a diverse prairie there. And Carol actually helped us with that decision. He wanted some CRP on his ground. And so I planted right around, I think it was 11 acres or something like that of CRP. So I'm actually very excited to have you back after that's grown up a little bit, and we can hunt that in the future, and it'll be incredible there. It's just a wonderful little habitat area.
Sweet.
But we cannot harvest seed out of CRP because the taxpayer has technically paid for that seed to be there.
We've actually been we're working on this program. So people call us pretty often. Hey, I've got this old CRP field. It's all big balloon in it. I just hate to see it ripped up or whatever. Could I just harvest this? And the problem with that, there's a few different problems, but the main thing is you get a bunch of different species in there. and that's hard to put in for your paperwork for the government. So I'm really working on a program where we can take some of those. I mean, we wouldn't be able to take thousands and thousands of acres of people doing that, but especially in our area where people are.
Are you saying expiring contracts?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Never on an actual contract.
Yep.
But let's say it got taken over by big blue stem and Indian grass.
Yep.
Then the NRCS is going to be like, well, you either have to spray it out, or maybe the rental rates go way down for CRP. And so it makes more sense. They're either going to put it into corn and beans, or they kind of have a long shot where they, hey, I'd love to keep hunting this. Is there any chance you guys could take the seed? And we're trying to figure out a way where we can actually do that and help keep it on the landscape in that way and make it beneficial for the farmer. But it's a tough, there's a lot of logistic issues, but we're trying.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on there. I know that. Right now we're looking at planting season, right?
Mm-hmm.
A couple things. Let's talk about planting, doing it right, getting the right seeds for your region. But first, you guys are launching a forum, Prairie Management Forum.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, what is the forum? How does it work? Who's going to use it?
Yeah.
Just lay it on me.
Well, I remember being really curious one day, and you Google stuff about Prairie, and usually you're kind of hit or miss, because a lot of times you get these blogs or these articles, and some of them are really good, or maybe they were written 25 years ago, so they were good for the time, but it's kind of outdated and we need better information. But since they've been around so long, Google ranks it really highly. So the information isn't very good. The good information on the internet for Prairie is tucked in Facebook pages and Reddit pages, but those...
How do you know what's what? How do you find it?
Exactly. So one, finding it's tough. Two, the only way I can sort on that, on things that I don't know anything about Prairie in this part, so I'll ask on here, is you look at just kind of the majority of the comments. You can kind of see where the industry's going, and that's typically a good bet, but you don't really know. And Reddit was the same way, but also Google hates Reddit and Facebook because they're direct competitors. So they're not going to rank those. If you ask a Prairie question, that question might exactly be answered on a forum on Facebook, and it's not going to rank it because Facebook is Google's competitor. And then I found that out years ago. And then a couple of years ago, I was asking I was like, oh, I wonder what it knows about Prairie. Man, it gives some terrible Prairie advice.
Google does, or
all of them. I checked like 6 different LLMs.
That's a problem when you're searching for information online, because you don't know who to trust, right? So I think most people that have been listening to you guys on your show trust you. You've got a lot of experience to back it up, right? You got real life experience to back it up. We talk about it here. You know, if I have a Prairie question, if all my buddies have Prairie questions, who are they calling?
Yeah.
Hey, you got Kent's number?
Yeah.
You got Nicholas's number? Yeah. They're not going to Facebook because they want to go to a source of somebody that they know they can trust.
Yeah.
Which I see value if you guys take ownership of something like that, because if I see it on your site, then I would trust it.
Yeah.
Right.
But now
you've got a lot of responsibility, sir.
I debated on it, because if we're going to do it, it could look like just a big sales thing for us. And so actually in the guidelines, if you go on there, on the guidelines, it says that please feel free to recommend any native seed company you think does a good job, or any prairie restoration company. We sell seed, we grow seed, we sell seed, and we do prairie restoration. But I want to make sure that this forum's not biased in that way. And so I actually pinged owners of competitor companies. And I was like, would you please answer questions? I mean, recommend your own company. I don't care, but I want the information on here to be really high quality. I want it to be cutting edge. So of course we pinged people like Tallgrass Prairie Center. The person who's working on it with us is Tabitha Panis. She used to be the president of the Iowa Prairie Network. Actually, one of our first podcasts ever. She's incredible. So she's jumping on it with us and making a lot of the first content and moderating it, making sure it doesn't get too political right away, and that, because the first parts of the forum get, hard.
Right.
So,
and I remember back a long time ago when forums first began, there were some heated conversations in the fishing forums.
Oh, really?
Up here in Minnesota, there were several fishing forums, and let's just say everybody has an opinion. I don't know if you were aware of this.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they all want to tell you all about. Yeah, exactly. So
if I had to guess, I think the biggest arguments will come from chemicals. Who's willing to use glyphosate? Who's willing? That's just my hypothesis. But in the middle of all this, of people getting good information on a forum, the idea is also Google will read it and be like, and they rank forums really highly on AI if they can get access to it. Reddit doesn't let.
How does it fact check it? Does it?
Exactly. It does not. So it would literally read all of the forum and it would go, the majority of the people say this. And it will give that answer. As Kent says, AI gives a wrong answer with authority. But it will go in what's recommended most often. And so the goal is to get people that have intelligent answers and actually have some research-backed information or actual field-backed information and say, this is what you need to do. This is what works in my experience. And we'll just, my attempt is to overwhelm the AI with good information. And then all the bad information we can combat in the forum. So it's on my to-do list every day for a year to check the forum and answer questions.
Kent, bring this back up in a second.
Yeah.
AI. I want to talk about AI in land. Okay.
Yeah.
To the forum on this, is it open right now? Are people able to go and do some searches on there?
theprairiefarm.com.
Okay.
Theprairiefarm.com. Yep.
Okay.
They can go. I think anybody can view it. If I remember, I actually didn't develop it. I had a web developer make it. But
so it was theprairiefarm.com.
Theprairiefarm.com. So anybody can view it, but then to like post.
Can you put in one of
stuff.
these screens up here? Can we see it?
You might have to have an account, but
I have to create an account.
If you have an account, then you
$500
can
to get in, isn't it?
Well, I have a
for the low price of $500 a month.
One-time payment each month of $375.
Yeah, man. And before we even advertised it, some guy who's kind of known in the prairie industry in Iowa found it and like made a post. And so when people are listening to this, we didn't even really tell the world about it till a week and a half before this, and he had found it and made a post. So we've got a list of.
So you just launched this within
2 weeks of when this podcast is airing. Yeah.
Okay.
So it is a baby. But what we want is real questions. We want people who are really curious about what's going to show up.
Look
and
at him,
then
he's actually working over there now.
Yes. He's got stuff going on.
Nicolas Lirio.
While you're doing something over there, can you put the AC on? It's getting a little bit warm in here.
No, because
too.
then everybody's going to hear it on the podcast.
That's
It's
okay.
pretty loud.
Oh man. So is this okay? So the second one is Larry Weber. That guy, you need to have that guy on the podcast. Dr. Larry Weber from University of Iowa. He is the water quality expert now.
Really?
I cannot believe.
Al, write that down. Larry Weber, Dr. Larry Weber.
Man, that's awesome that he would be the guy there.
This is nice and clean. Good work.
If you listen to this, Larry, we'll even road trip with you up here, buddy.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Have a little extra trip. But so
you can see.
So you've got all these different topics from grazing to woodland to wetland.
Do you want me to click on one, Trav?
Yeah. And normally on forum guidelines, you go no politics, right? Fish.net. They have like, hey, absolutely no politics on here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to allow no politics except in the politic section because a lot of conservation happens through
you're going to have a hard
advocacy.
time separating all these
Yeah,
things.
I think we're
because
literally going to
there's
have to
politics.
delete them, yeah.
Well, yeah, but you got grass to grow,
I
man.
don't see
You got time
I
for
don't
all
see a
that.
politics question though.
No, I haven't.
But I just think
yeah.
you're going to find politics within most of these categories.
I think Travis should create our first political post.
You know what?
What does Nick Lirio think
I
about
can write a
suck.
Yeah.
I can write a post though. I can.
Oh, you don't have an account? Oh, good.
Well, I have a shop account that you could sign in with a shop account.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
you
I
could
see.
probably create an
Interesting.
account. And then like you can message people.
So we are in the information stage. Last week we talked about Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever launching Habitat University, which was actual courses that you can go through with experts that put these courses together. You can read it, you can watch it, you can listen to it. Which I think it's great information. People are interested in it. In the first month, they had 400 people sign up to take the course, and they're just getting it rolling.
That's awesome.
This is great too. I mean, this is different because this is another way for people to get the right information. I think most people that have the ability to do work on the land and they're choosing to do it, they don't want to mess it up. They want to do it right. You know,
and any kind of prairie installation, prairie management is turning a battleship. it's a multiple year process every time you do something. So if you don't get it right,
you're 5 years in before you have to redo it. That's the thing. That's the scary thing. It's like dog training.
Right.
You are doing something today that is not going to really show itself for potentially 2 years to know if you did it right.
It's like raising a kid.
And then if you did it wrong, exactly.
You might not see that for 15 years.
Yeah, we're just texting about this, and I'm like, gosh, some days I just really,
you know what you could do?
Feel
with this?
like, boy, did I mess up?
Yep.
You know, he's like, just knowing that you're thinking about that shows that you are probably
with your kid or your dog.
My kids.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. You know,
I've got 4 kids. He has 3 kids. You know,
I just blame my son for leaving the garage door open. And
sorry, I said
3
kids.
I used to
2
leave
kids.
I used to leave the lights on all the time, so I don't blame your son.
Well, we had a family meeting about it, and turns out I left the door open.
Oh my goodness. Did you publicly apologize?
I apologize.
You had to go lit him up?
Yeah.
Those beautiful, wonderful children of yours?
Yeah.
I would definitely
I was already
them.
mad because he left my my beautiful Milwaukee portable air compressor sitting outside in about a 2-inch monsoon with the battery in it.
We could talk for hours about this because I'm finding my tools laying in the woods behind our house. They're building stuff with them. And I swear there's somebody paying them millions of dollars to not put back anything of mine that they've taken. And I get so mad. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I do want them to do this stuff. I do want them to go out and have a mud kitchen and build stuff and get their hands dirty. Me
for him losing his tools all the time. And my mom told me that my mom and uncles hadn't lived with their parents for 30 years, and my grandpa would still message them and be like, have you seen my set of Allens over laying around? And they're like, Dad, we haven't lived here in years. So that's never going to happen.
I got blamed for everything that my dad lost.
Yeah. My dad still does that to me, and I'm like, Dad, I don't live with you.
And now he comes fishing with me, and I'm like, no, you can't use that stuff. You can't take care of it. You've proven that you can't take care of it. Yeah. All those years you were blaming me. And he's like, no, you were breaking and losing stuff. I go, I really don't know. Look whose rod is broken right now. Who broke it?
The worst is when I'd like set an Allen wrench, I'd put it back in the right drawer. I just wouldn't set it back in the right spot, and he'd be like freaking out, be like, you didn't put the Allen wrench back. And I'm like, well, I put it in the drawer.
I have a step stool, and there's a spot in the garage in the corner where it slides in behind the refrigerator. It's a perfect spot for it. Kids used it the other day. They leaned it up against the spot where they should have put it. They didn't finish by sliding it back in. And I'm like, how hard? You're so close. I mean, we're getting there. You guys are trying sort of to put it away, but
it's the simple things in life, Travis.
Oh, do the job right.
Anyways.
Okay.
Back to the AI conversation.
Where were we?
AI. You want to talk about AI?
So at some point, and there's parts of AI that farmers and
we're at an hour and 30, by the way.
Oh my gosh, you guys talk a lot.
I know. Our car ride 4.5 hours, not a moment of silence on the way here.
Oh my gosh.
It's mostly for $1 billion. Would you ...
For $1 million, would you give up pizza? That's the first question.
That's right.
I would give up pizza for $1 million.
Anyways, back to the AI.
Okay, so at some point, AI, and I know farmers use AI all the time now. It's becoming a normal thing. But at some point, AI should be able to scan a section and then multiple sections in a county, and they could tell you there's X amount of acres in this section. Only if it's 640 acres, let's say 573 of those acres can bring you a profit. You're losing money on the rest. And everything we know is human nature. It's all about money, right? Greed and money. That's what's driving us to make these decisions.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. Okay. So if everyone wants to survive and make money, got to make money. And the AI can tell us those 7 acres there and those 12 acres over here, you're losing money if you plant those into row crops. Granted, there's insurance and they might recoup that. But if AI says this, I mean, you literally are telling landowners, this is not land that's suitable to plant. Would that move the needle at all? Could it?
A little bit, but we don't even really need AI to know all that.
But it's somebody telling them you're losing money.
That's what I'm saying.
It's costing you to plant something there.
We know that today.
One of the things I've learned about farming is that farming is, yes, at the end of the day, a dollars and cents endeavor, right? Because if you can't pay your bills, you can't farm. And so the buck does stop there with the bucks, right? But it is a lifestyle pursuit almost as much. People know that they can, like, yes, again, I'll go back to the example of yesterday with my dad. He said, I could make way more money off this land if I sold it and put it all into index funds. My return would be way higher, especially right now with where commodity prices are at. And he's like, but obviously I don't do that because this land has some other value to me. Even if I can't put my finger on it, it just does. And it's the same way with people who farm. They want to farm. They like operating the equipment. They like the idea of doing what's been going on. And for most of them, their family's history. They remember when their dad farmed those acres, that kind of thing. And because modern combines, they tell you what your yield is off of, okay, this last acre, you got this many bushels of corn, this many bushels of beans, right? Uh-huh. And so we already have the technology and have had it for quite some time.
AI is already telling them what's profitable, what's not.
Right. And so it hasn't been enough of a decision making.
What if it becomes public knowledge? I don't know what's in Bill's combine. I don't know what it's telling him. But what if the county reports, and it's a public document, that it shows this land does not produce. This is a negative right here. Yeah. And you knew what your neighbor had. Would that change it? If your neighbors knew that was a losing proposition to plant grass?
It might, because to plant soybeans. I mean, that is a big, I think, public. When you farm, your work is very public because people can see it when they drive down the road.
Yeah, boy.
And they can see how good of a job
Frank's
you're doing.
not doing so hot this year. Look at the weeds out there. I mean,
that's small town drama.
Another reason to edge all your fields with some big blue stem and Indian grass nobody can see in. But I mean, that might be part of it. But also, I think, just taking ownership in the sense of, okay, let's look at the waterways that, this creek. It had a nitrate level of this. This creek had a nitrate level of this, and maybe make that information possible or public. And now there's a target, not so much a blame game to look at, but if I'm farming along that creek, I'm looking at that as an objective to meet. Okay, what can I do to bring that number down? Because that water doesn't just stay on my farm; it goes downstream to affect my neighbor's farm, and eventually it ends up, through the water cycle back into someone's drinking water. And I want to take my role of the influence that I hold over that water. I want to be able to be a part of making it better and maybe engage in their own water testing. But yeah, that's got to be there. There has to be, dollars and cents definitely get us somewhere. I think, was it might have been the FSA or Pheasants Forever, that they were saying turn those red acres green or something like that. It was the idea of your most highly erodible, most flood. Yeah. Farm the best, CRP the rest or something. The most farm insurance likely to be claimed acres, the highest risk acres. Let's get those out of production and put them into something that's going to provide, it's not necessarily money made. I mean, you do make money on a CRP payment, but it's also just money not spent.
Yeah, and money not lost.
Right.
Turning it, instead of negative $100 on that acre, you might get $220 on that acre.
Or just keep it at zero. And it's just not costing you.
Well, and if you were losing 50 and now you're getting 250, that's a $300 per acre difference of pure profit. And farmers do not profit $300 an acre. There's nothing you can do on your farm in a commodity space that would profit you 300 acres unless you already own the land, but then you have to take off what you would have rented.
Or if you grow like a organic crop or something like that.
Yeah, you think about all that goes into fuel to run the tractor, to till it, to spray it, to plant it, the seeds. I mean, all that, you wouldn't be adding that cost in there. on those particular acres, whatever they'd be. I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me. I think, every farmer out there that's planting as smart as they can or doing everything they can to have the best yields, returns, everything. It makes sense, right? But we just don't have enough.
The hamster wheel is very tempting. I was talking with a farmer the other day, chatting with him on the phone, and he's a super nice guy, and I enjoyed the chat. And he farms thousands of acres, well over 2,000 acres. And he said, it's just a rat race, and I don't understand, and we're stuck in it, and I'm trying to get more acres. And I told him, I said, there's a book called, Lean Farming, and his whole premise was every time he cut back in acres, he profited more money. So if we're only talking about money, we could talk about it. And I told him our lives got way better. We gave up an 88-acre farm. We were farming about 88 acres of it, and we gave it up, and it made our lives a lot better and a lot easier. But I felt that no, if we give that up, we're not going to get it back. They're never going to rent it back to us.
That's a regression or something.
Yeah, and there was like this
scared
scarcity
of what could come.
mindset. Yeah, and instead of that rat race, I felt it take hold of my decision making. I can't imagine how much when your margins are $22 an acre.
Less is more.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that saying out there, less is more.
There's a lot of truth to
right?
it. Yeah.
Guys, we've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes. This was not the intent to go there. I wanted to talk about how to plant seeds correctly and how to start your prairie correctly. That's a whole conversation. And you guys recently had it. It was maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. I listened to you guys talk about it. So rather than us continue for another half hour to talk about how to do that, how about if anyone's listening right now that wants to know how to plant seeds correctly, how to start a prairie correctly, go to the Prairie Farm Podcast, do a search a couple weeks ago. You're going to find, I think it's titled How to Plant.
Yeah.
I think so. To actually get it to show up was what I titled it.
And that's a thing because I know a lot of people that have planted native grasses and they're just like, they're not here. And a year goes by and a second year goes by and you're wondering, are they going to come? So that's a real thing. I think it's valuable.
Was it how and when to plant a prairie so it actually shows up?
Yeah. With Justin Meisen.
Episode
that dude,
340.
No, but I mean, that dude
340
knows down to the research of how many seeds per square foot per species, because each species has a different kind of seed, and he gets really into the minutia. I really enjoy that guy.
You guys do too. And we had you on. You had me down, but we had a conversation while we were hunting this past fall or winter. It was December, but it was really cool for me to see just the operation that you guys have there, all those seeds, all the bags, all the things that are rattling, the little tiny seeds
and everything,
and then the screen to get it to the next size, to the next size, to the next. I mean,
hey, look at this. Are you as tough as a pioneer woman? We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. It turns out we're not. We found that out on that episode. Yeah, that's a good episode.
What's your favorite episode recently that you guys have had?
I really like your coffee times because I feel like those always are super interesting.
I really enjoyed what was his name? This was probably 2 or 3 months ago. I liked Zach Lane and Chase Brown are probably my two favorite in the past few months.
That's a really good question. I had a kind of a pet interest that I really enjoyed. It was with Dr. Patrick Young, and we went all the way up to Milwaukee School of Engineering, and he's a expert on Blackhawk. So like the Chicago Blackhawks, Blackhawk Down, anything you've
episode 336.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, right about there. And I grew up where Blackhawk grew up. I mean, same exact area.
And you went to school somewhere near where he was for a while, right? Your college?
Yeah. It was. Well, I mean, he kind of passed through that area during the Blackhawk War when he was on the run basically the whole time. And so I think that's something that I would like us to do more, where we talk more. It's not really necessarily, I mean, it's a little bit natural history, but just the straight up historical side of where we come from is so much a part of who we are. And it connects us to the land because those people became famous because they lived there, and they lived there because they saw value in it. And if we can tap into what made them so passionate, especially Blackhawk, because his undoing was the fact that he couldn't give it up. He loved it so much.
You should try researching sometime, Kent. Just in general.
My problem is my interests are just all over the place.
I'm totally kidding. I just love your old soul. I know you're driving well below the speed limit, and I love it.
Yeah, and listen about Blackhawk. But yeah, that was probably my favorite.
You should have, when we got done with that, I enjoyed the episode. I listened, I was like, man, that was really interesting.
Nick actually fell asleep. So here's a little Easter egg for you. If you go back to episode 336, it's somewhere in the back corner of that.
Snoring.
If you look at Nick, he'll be like this.
I didn't fall asleep.
You'd have to go to the YouTube version of the pod.
The guy was like a true research savant, and he didn't take breaths. He just talked for like 45 minutes at a time, and then we'd ask a little question, and then he'd talk another 45.
He was a true expert.
But Ken was like a kid in the candy store. He was like, "Oh my goodness, this is so exciting!" Isn't this Nick?
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, there's a new forum out there that you guys launched. There was an incident in a bathroom on a mission trip.
This is what Travis got out of the episode, by the way.
That was Nick in that incident.
Yeah, Nick was blaming it on somebody else. By the way, that was
I knew a guy.
He got charged with a hate crime. Because
there's two sides to every story. And the algorithm only gives you one.
Yep.
Right? And we're in the information age.
Yep.
And we have a lot of information out there. Make sure you're finding the right information and then do something with that information. You leave us with something to make you feel good every time you come on the show, Nicholas. What do you want to leave us with today?
I think I mentioned this last time. I've been getting really into fasting because
can be really good for you.
Well, yeah, bodily, it's really popular with like biohacking and stuff, but remember that thing I was talking about with the pulling up to a stoplight, and if I don't make the green light, I'm like frustrated. It's like my soul is filled with stuff, and when I fast and I go through the pain of not having food for some odd days, it like pulls all that stuff out of me. You know what I mean? And my wife likes me more afterwards, and I think that goes with consumerism, but it's like for our bodies, when we aren't pulling anything in, our bodies are able to reset, and our souls are able to reset. And I've seen a lot of good things in it. Now I'm a strong believer, and I do a lot of praying when I'm fasting, and I think that's a big part of it as well. But the less is more. It has been a big deal to me.
Less is more. That's awesome. And
I remember when Travis was fasting. Good times.
I'm still here. I think I made it like 6 days. We were doing it was a ridiculous one.
Oh,
it was
man.
a ridiculous one. You'll have to go way back into the archives
that was last
about
week.
that.
Or last year, I mean.
No, it was more than that.
Last year.
It was more than that. My wife likes me more when I spend time outside. It's funny you said that.
Yeah.
And I think if I can jump on the fasting thing, fast from this thing.
Yeah.
This
absolutely.
cell phone. I'm so sick of looking at people's cell phones in their hands.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
I just think as much time we can spend apart from it, the better. My goodness. Because like when I'm in a wild place, that's where I get really recharged.
Mhm.
And my wife likes me a lot better when I come back.
Do you
Seriously.
ever sit in a waiting room and you look around, everyone's on their phone, and just purposefully put your phone down, and you're like, I'm gonna be. It's almost out of defiance.
I do that at the gym because
here we go again, guys.
Sorry,
He's back to the gym.
But my biggest
Look
pet
at this, I can
peeve
deal with every day.
During my
Anyways,
morning lift,
I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I went to the
I haven't
gym.
done that since last time we talked.
I'm here for you, Big Al. You look like a beefcake, bro.
He is.
You're a monster.
Yeah, look at my bowl.
He's
Anyways,
chiseled, but you wouldn't know it
Anyways.
because he's hiding behind the camera.
My
He's putting
biggest-
us in front of it.
my biggest pet peeve is when people are in between their sets and they're just doom scrolling on their phone, and it's been like 5 minutes since they did their last set. And it's like, you're not like, why you just, for one, it's annoying because
You're
I'm
hogging the
I'm
bench.
trying to use that bench, but also like I try not to go on my phone in between it because I'm looking around and all these people are just facing their phones while you're doing something to actively
It's the way of the
make
world
yourself
right
better.
now. It is the way of the world. And it's every generation that has a phone. As soon as you have it, you just scroll.
Yep.
And it is terrible. It is ruining us. I hate it. I hate
Yep.
phones.
Yep.
There, I said it.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we should have just cut it out earlier because he had such a great thought. We're leaving everybody with a good feeling. Smile.
Yeah, smile.
It makes the world a better place. There. We ended it on a happy note. Thank you guys, obviously, for your time. You drove all the way up here from Iowa. I so appreciate your friendships and all that you guys are doing. And the resource, when people need seed and advice, they call you. You pick up the phone. They can trust you. And I appreciate that because a lot of them are my friends that keep calling you. And they're getting trusted information out there. And I hope that people listening know that I trust you guys a lot. And I think that they can too. You have a lot of experience out there and you're working really hard on the land to make it a better place. So thank you very much.
Can I call you guys just to call you guys? I don't have any questions about
just to
Prairie,
chat.
but just
I always get excited when they come up here.
We need to get Alan on a coffee time episode.
Oh my gosh, there you go.
Be a Trav together. I'd be scared with
maybe
that.
Maybe we could have a subscribers only podcast for Big Al.
They do Patreons
with Big Al.
We've been talking about it. Not because we think, we need to hide our information, but it's more just like nobody else wants to hear the banter that we've got going on.
Anyways, we're getting off track again.
Okay, we've been derailed since we turned the microphones on today. Thanks, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Flush Podcast.